On my LinkedIn, I've talked a lot about knowing the company you're interviewing for. And this just goes so far in making you stand out in memory of the person who's interviewing you. So I think a lot of people take it for granted that there's one, maybe two people looking at 400 to 1,000 resumes trying to determine who needs to be put into the smaller pool of individuals who get a call back. And yes, I agree, they should email you that you're no longer under consideration. I'm not knocking that. What I'm saying is, if you want to stand out in someone's memory, you have to make memorable statements. One of the ways to make memorable statements is to actually know the company you're interviewing for and kind of loop into your responses relevant things about the company, what they're working on, or once you get to, if they say you get past the hiring manager, get to the technical interviewer, knowing what that person worked on. You can sometimes find their research papers, find their project groups if they're writing about it. It just really depends on the company. And that has gotten me, when I was freelancing, so many sales because I knew going into the meeting a lot about that person, what they were working on, and how I could provide value to them. And that makes you stand out in memory more so than, hey, I'm applying for this job. You said, it looks like you're working on something interesting, X, Y, Z. It's all about your responses. So know the company, know what they're working on, know what new projects interest you, especially, if you want to go the startup route for your first internship or first job. They've often only been in business 5 years, so they have a really succinct mission and they're working on this one thing, and they might have just did a project release as opposed to going into a larger, already established corporation. You can see some of the project releases. You might even see some of the new stuff, and oftentimes the news, it shows you the company objectives, but you can't get as specific, and that's fine. But knowing more than the other person coming after you in that interview, because they're interviewing people all day, you're going to stand out in memory. They're going to be like, oh, who is that girl with the glasses who was talking about our new initiative? Oh yeah, I liked her a lot. And you get put into the next level. You don't get ignored. So research the person. See if you can find a paper, especially for the startups. You can often find the CEO or whatever, they're still hands in, or the person they hired in to do it. You can find out what they did at their last job. Check out their LinkedIn profiles, and you can often see if they have a blog, like I have a blog, which is this, obviously. But you can find out about that, and you'll last longer in the memory of that person. The job market is just really competitive. So going on to questions and examples, because I promised in this video I tried my best to give examples. So question, tell me about yourself. This question simply should be no longer than 2 minutes, and it should be, hey, I'm XYZ. I worked in this company previously working on these projects. I've done X, Y, and Z, and I'm really looking for blah, blah, blah. If you're a student, say, hey, I've been putting together my projects over the past X months. I have a background in this. It merges with data science, data engineering in this way. It has taught me a lot, and I'm looking to bridge the gap to X, Y, and Z. Really think about how to sell yourself in 2 to 3 sentences, because they're not going to remember the beginning of the interview anyway. This is just, you want to get into the questions that they're going to actually remember, but they're never going to remember your intro. And your goal is kind of to, and by saying little, you actually don't have to figure out more answers to a lot of other questions, because they're going to just follow up on that, and it's probably something you might have said in it anyway. So I just find it useful. Why do you want to work here? Again, it goes back to knowing the company, knowing what they're working on, and wrapping your answers around that. So like when I was working in startups, I have a background. The lab I was in when I started out coding was a bioinformatics lab, and I wanted to get into health tech because I figured it was the easier way to put it, because I had taken like a 4-year gap because I didn't want to do it anymore, but I'm back, and that's what's happening. And so I would say, you know what, I see you're working on X, Y, and Z. I'm really interested in, health equity, getting people their records. I know a lot about the genomic space, and I really wrap it around that. I mean, if you come from retail and you're trying to get in data, talk about, hey, I'm interested in the customer's interaction and behavior. And as a data scientist at your company, I'd be able to really impact how people shop. Okay, so yeah, see, that matches you as being the customer service person in the department store. You care about the customer. Even if you're at, let's say, because I did work a stint in my life at Chick-fil-A. If I want to go work at Chick-fil-A court, I said, your customer service is amazing. It really taught me how to listen, talk to people, stay calm under pressure. And you know what, I'm really interested in how restaurants are going to improving the serving habits of people in the future, like what will the future of technology look in that space, because I'm passionate about the restaurant industry, or I really like the restaurant, and you don't have to lie. But just wrap it around what you're already doing, put some tech in there, and keep it rolling. So what interests you in this role in particular? You can kind of, I like to, when I say something, I try to anticipate the next question. These two for me go together, and so I try to answer them together, so that by the end they're like, well, you already went through all the questions I had. Great. Now we can have a conversation that's more personal and interactive, and you likely still remember me better. So I lump that into, again, as a data scientist, your company does X, Y, and Z, and it all goes together. Can you tell me a difficult situation, work situation, and how you overcame it? So for questions like this, I always say, try to, before you go into the interview process, think through two scenarios. Like, they're going to always try to find something on your resume. So think through a project you had something hard on, a project where you had great success on, a project where you needed to talk to your manager, and pre-word these out. You have the questions available to you online. Pre-word them out. Don't memorize it, because you need to sound natural, but you need to know the key points. And so I always talk about my time working, freelancing, working with clients, and trying to understand client communication and improving my ability to communicate with clients over time, and really learning how to listen for their needs and what they want, and being able to deliver that time period is normally what I say to this. And it works. Your salary expectations for the role. So there's two responses to how to answer this question. The first one is to give them your range, which I wouldn't do unless they had it at the bottom of the job, like they actually had it. And you can always make it a little higher. That's what I do. But also say, hey, before you even get to the interview, what I like to do is, because especially if you have the recruiter, you say, hey, I don't want to waste your and my time, and this is not, anywhere near the ballpark of what I'm expecting to earn. And that has happened. They've sent me, I have 10 years of experience. They're sending me a junior or 0%, experience, and trying to give me that salary. And so I was like, hey, this doesn't seem to quite fit what I'm doing. What is the salary range for this role? And I was like, no, I'm already making more than that, and I'm looking for X, Y, and Z. And they say, okay, it's not a fit. So I didn't even waste my time interviewing, and they didn't, they're appreciating that I didn't, go through that process. So I usually ask up front. And especially if it is your junior role, I say take it. Take it, suffer through it for a year, and that's what I've been. I know a lot of people be like, follow your passion. Work isn't passion, baby. Your hobbies are your passions, and we can disagree on this. I like teaching. I teach data science or math, and I like teaching culture, like of the countries that I visited, but I actually don't like data science that much. So what is your salary range expectation? There are two things you can do. You can, if it has like at the bottom of the job description, sometimes they're advertising like Colorado, and they have the range. They say for Colorado only. They ain't for Colorado only if it's remote, in my opinion. And so you can give them a range. I try to go a little bit above that range, and that way I again there. But if you don't know, before you even take the interview, ask, what is the salary range for this role? And if it's coming like, you're going in for a junior data science role, and it's not like a government agency and they're offering you 40 grand, say, no, thank you. I'm sorry. I'm looking for a role making more closer to the national average between this and this. And, just don't even bother with that interview. So I like to ask up front. And the thing is, they're not really going to, depending on the company, they don't really talk to each other. So I've had people not have my range. I have some people actually have my range, and I'm able to negotiate with the technical manager on the call to tell them, what I'm willing and not willing to do. But sometimes they don't even talk. So you might, it's a good thing to at least ask the recruiter up front, because they kind of know. And if it's more than 50 grand below like that range, don't interview with them at all. They're not going to get you the salary that you want. I don't go on to interviews anymore if they don't tell me the salary range up front. And I advise you do that too, especially if it's not listed in the job description. If it is, I say, hey, I'm looking for X range, again, normally a little bit above the range that they're looking for, because sometimes it is in the budget for a different area, but they didn't have to report it. And I do that. There's tons of influencers in this space who walk you through this a lot better than I do. I've never had those courses in that. I just have learned through my career to not take less than what I feel like I'm valued at, and just be very clear and upfront with that. So I normally say, hey, if the salary is this, I need a total comp of this. If you can give me my total comp with the bonuses, I'll work with you, especially if it's a company I want to, but I am not doing that. And you just have to, again, set your expectations in advance, and that's the hardest thing to do. So, do you have any questions? It's one of my favorite job interview questions, and I know you're like, I don't have any questions. Well, you should, especially depending on the types of companies. So if I'm interviewing at a startup, they've been in business less than 5 to 10 years, I want to know how your sales are going. I want to know how's the turnover at the company, how many people have left, how many people have you interviewed for this. And if they hesitate on these, then you might want to run for the hills in the sense of it's not going to be a good environment for you. I like to know what should I know for the first 3 successful months at the company. If they can't tell you how to be successful at their company, they can't tell you, what's going forward and what they need, then you're not going to be able to actually provide value in that role. And they're going to, what I find, let's go back. What do I mean provide value? People get promotions and salary increases based on the perceived value that the managers in charge of them have of their work for the company. If the company doesn't know how you can contribute to the company, they lack a defined mission and vision and goal for the company, and it's likely more chaotic than you want to be in. Startups are naturally chaotic because things change so much, but if it's a good startup, they still have that solid vision and they can direct you into terms of what and how you can contribute and really make the impact at the company. So you want to know the turnover. You want to know your goals that you should be looking for the next 3 months. Like what do you need to know? You want to know the turnover. You want to know why the person you're interviewing with chose the company. And again, if they hesitate on these questions, then I would run for the hills. And that has happened where they're just like, and you realize you feel their answer is like crap. But then I've had other people who say acknowledge some issues at the company, but they say, I really like this about the CEO, or I really like this about the tech person. And you can hear that. You can ask them why they left their previous role. And I like to ask that because it shows bitterness, and it can show kind of what type of person they are in terms of how they will manage you. Because if they, if they can articulate why they actually left and what they're looking to improve in the move that they make, oftentimes it was them, and that's how it feels when you hear this answer. And so you don't want to really go work for someone if it feels like this them. So those are questions that you can ask. And again, most people aren't asking these questions, so you throw them off their game a bit. But ask and listen for how and their facial expressions of what they respond. Definitely practice these answers in the mirror. I had the benefit of going to like a public arts program, and so not all the time, but when I'm thinking about it, I can control my facial expressions and put on a really good, you can't see anything coming through, and then I can end the process later very cordially without the look of shock on my face. There has been a few interview sessions that have thrown me off, but you can cordially, in the session, be sure to follow up with your recruiters. I've done that. Like if I didn't hear back and I thought it was a good interview, I followed up and it turns out the company, well, it was COVID. So the company stopped hiring for the role and they were trying to get to people, or it was waiting for the board approval, and it went, again, startups are a little bit differently with how quickly things end and begin. Bigger risk, bigger gain in a lot of ways. Reach back out, thank them, say, hey, thanks for talking to me. Thanks for setting me up. I appreciate that. Let me know how it goes. They're not often thanked. They're not often considered, and so doing that, like the thank you card, actually works for some people, and you stay again front of mind. I've had people reach back out with other opportunities that weren't necessarily a match, and that's fine, but they didn't have to do that. And so really think through your engagement with them, and that goes again to building your network of people, building your relationships with people professionally, and so that you have them to call on later. So I have relationships with recruiters now. I have relationships with other technical managers at other companies, and I can reach out to them for, insights into jobs and things. You want to start doing that now, and it'll really serve you as you go through your career. Oh, be sure to like this video, subscribe to my channel for more data science stuff. I'm putting together tutorials and reviews of books and sessions. You can find my Python study group on LinkedIn almost every Saturday, depends on work schedule, but we go through problems, working to put together some more stuff. You can find out about the 1-week project sprints where we're trying to pull together these portfolios in the description, as well as how to talk to me one-to-one if you want that career advice and a plan set up for you. Looking forward to having you on my channel.